So how do you
so
run
now,
the remaining 2,995
let me answer your own question. Now, I took over ARIC, for example. When we took over, we had hunted the CEO of ARIC. I don't know that man from Adam. I've never met him before. He was properly recommended in the industry because he was a captain, he was an engineer, he was an administrator. And because of that, he was recommended and he was appointed. You think I will go and bring a farmer to head ARIC? It's not possible because it's a business that you want to continue to run efficiently. So you have to go and look for the best in class.
AMCON has not been able to revive most of these businesses in spite the intervention?
No, because it is not our responsibility. We're a recovery agent. We are not to revive businesses. So we operate within the ambit of the law. Today, if you ask me, if I want to set up a national carrier in Nigeria, if you ask me, I can give them 10 free aircrafts. I have free new aircrafts in ARIC. I can give them. With that, you can start a national carrier.
So what happened to the national carrier?
I don't know. We were not
because
part of that.
The federal government initially said they have deployed transaction advisors to monitor the hits and they followed due process and it should be taken off by December this year. But all of a sudden, we had the government putting aside that idea of a national carrier. I thought that AMCON should have been able to investigate what went wrong.
No, we cannot investigate because we don't work in Ministry of Aviation.
Well, you've pointed out a very crucial point in this issue of the national carrier, that they don't need to go the way they went in the introduction of this national carrier.
I didn't say that because I don't have information and I only said that if I were them, I have AMCON, I have 10 aircrafts I can give them today, which you can hit the ground running.
That's a very pregnant statement.
Yes, you don't need to buy new aircrafts. I can give you 10 aircrafts and you can pay me over a period of 10 years.
Don't you think the federal government should find this instructive?
No, if, you brought up this conversation. If somebody had asked me, I would have suggested that.
Would you say there was no due diligence in the proposed national carrier?
I think Benga, you have a lot of time. I think you need to take appointment to see the Minister of Aviation. I think he will be able to give you more information about the national carrier because I don't have any information about national carrier.
No, because you mentioned the issue
I was just mentioning that if you want 10 aircrafts, I can give you.
Okay, now people believe, just as you've muted recently, that releasing the debtors list would go a long way in solving most of the things on ground, most of the challenges on ground. When are you coming up with the debtors list?
No, we were out and we are coming up with another list. We have more than 3,000 names we intend to publish. We've only done 100, so you can see we have a long way to go.
Now, we have a very scary statistics that only about 350 Nigerians, companies, are responsible for the entire 80% of the total 5.4 trillion naira debts. How did we get to this point?
I don't know, honestly. But I believe that at a certain point in time, we have to look at the credit approval process. Because we've seen quite a lot of credits that were not supposed to be there in the first instance. They were given, I think, ab initio without intention of them being paid. I can tell you to borrow money from a bank is not a bad thing. It's not criminal. For bank to lend money is not criminal. But not following your credit process and then the loan going bad, I think BOFIT has taken care and a lot of CBN regulations have taken care of that. And I think at a certain point in time, we have to go back to this fail credit, fail bank act situation.
Now that takes me to this question. Would AMCON consider leasing some of those assets it took over to raise cash?
Yes, we are. We currently do. There are some of the assets, some tank farms, some aircrafts. We lease them to raise cash. We do that. So it's
you are
a normal
seasoned banker.
Yes.
And what do you think is responsible for the huge toxic assets the banks are dealing with now? And what are you doing to put a stop to this?
First of all, I believe there is quite a lot of lending rascality. Because if you go, some of these loans that have
Lending
gone bad.
rascality.
Yes, lending rascality. Some of these loans that have
On the
gone
part
bad.
of the bankers.
Yes.
On the part of the banks.
For the part of the banks. Because if you go and look at some of these credits that have gone bad, that are in AMCON, you can clearly see that some of them were not given ab initio with the intention of being paid back. So it's a combination of so many things. And I think at a certain point in time, we need to separate these things and address them.
So now you've made several references to the aviation sector. And I'll be asking what happens to the huge capital AMCON has injected to many of these airlines. And what's the situation right now with these airlines?
First of all, AMCON has not injected huge capital to the aviation. We have bought non-performing loans, which incidentally some of them were given to the aviation industry operators. So we've inherited that. And some of them, like I said, we're even putting them, or they are all under receivership, and we're trying to get out of that. However, there is a fundamental problem in the aviation industry that I believe all of us need to sit down and address. Otherwise, for you to say an industry has not produced a 10-year successful airline. So there are issues.
How do we change the narrative?
All of us, the stakeholders, I think we need to sit down, because AMCON is a stakeholder. We were a major stakeholder in the aviation industry. We need to sit down and address all the issues that we strongly believe will help the industry.
The Managing Director of the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, Mr. Ahmed Kuru, thank you so much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benga. Thanks for being with me. Thank you very much.
And that'll be all on this episode of Question Time from Channel TV's Global Headquarters, Lagos. You can send us your comments on our social media platforms showing right on your screen. Join us next week on a fresh episode of the show. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashuru. Bye for now.